It's okay to stand for something and say, hey, we need to be compassionate and understanding of narcissism and stop throwing the word around and stuff like that. Out sitting here pushing judgments and stigmas on other diagnoses. Welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a great day so far. So today you guys saw we're back with another I Read the Rewired Souls blog, so you don't have to. That's right, you guys. I'm back with another blog reaction, and I'm only doing one blog today because it made me so mad. I didn't even try to go and read the other two that he had posted up. You guys already know he's been uploading blogs like crazy. He's getting followers on there. He's getting some notoriety. He's trying to figure out how to push his message to more people on Medium. And so I was going to react to a couple of them in this video, but this one made me mad. And I said, you know what? Let me just give this man a whole video just dedicated to this blog. But before I even get into all of that, if you are new here, welcome. This is Journey to Find K, and I'm Kay. I like to talk about mental health. I react to the Rewired Soul, but I also talk about other topics here on YouTube if I can find a lesson about mental health and or substance abuse and recovery, because I'm a mental health patient, worker, and advocate, and I want to use my experience and my opinion to negate some of the things that get put here on this platform. So if you enjoy my content and you enjoy watching me, don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that bell so that way you're also notified every time I post a video. So yes, you guys, this video is only going to be one blog. It's about one blog, and it's because this blog pissed me off. It made me mad. It's one of his most recent blogs. You guys already know he's on a roll. He's trying to figure out Medium's whole system and how he can get his message pushed to more people. So he's been uploading blogs up there consistently. And so when I go to do these, I go and look at the titles. I kind of read the first few sentences to see like, okay, what is this something that's going to be a waste of time? I judge. I've read so many of them now that I can kind of
judge whether or not they're a waste of time within the first few sentences.
But out of the recent blog posts that he has put up, this one pissed me off. And I think the reason I get so annoyed with him is because there is potential, and there was potential for him to be someone that, you know, could really uplift and help people, because there's times where I'm really like, yeah. And I did that in this blog where I was like, yeah, okay, all right. Then he kills it because he goes right into pushing stigmas and judgments again. It's the irony, you guys. It's the irony of this blog post. So let's get into it. So he decided to title the blog, Why I Feel Bad for Narcissists. Okay, and I can understand that, because as someone who works in the mental health field, advocates for mental health, who takes mental health very seriously, I can understand why someone could feel bad for narcissists, because I have empathy for everyone who has a mental health concern, illness, whatever you want to call it. So when I saw the title, I'm like, okay, I will go in with an open mind, not too much benefit of a doubt, but I do have an open mind to that title at least. I'm not going to judge it by its title. So then he goes and flexes his YouTube channel.
We won't say anything about that, right? Okay.
Then states that he doesn't follow the herd mentality when it comes to narcissists. All right, I can understand the herd mentality, because, and it's something that I will agree with him on, is that it gets overused. People call people narcissistic. People say they have narcissistic tendencies. People who have no credentialing, no nothing. People who shouldn't be sitting here throwing out diagnoses, which ultimately continues stigmas, which continues judgments, does more harm than good. He even stated that actual narcissists are far few in between. He is correct about that. The statistics for people who are diagnosed with narcissistic personality is anywhere from now we can get into how accurate those statistics are, is because of the characteristics of people who are genuine narcissists. They would not be trying to seek help because they think nothing is wrong with them, right? So I understand both sides. It is overused. We throw it around. We hear narcissist this, narcissist that. They have these narcissistic tendencies. I do agree that most people might not have really interacted with a true narcissist. So it's one of those things where I am cognizant that there could be way more people than we know who could possibly be diagnosed having narcissist personality disorder, but we still need to be careful with calling everyone a narcissist, using it so loosely as we do in society. So I agreed with him on that point. I did. And you see, there's moments where I'm like, okay, not bad. So that was where I was agreeing with him. And then he went in and decided to go on his soapbox and state that most people in mental health have certain diagnoses or certain mental health concerns that they feel compassionate about, and then some that they don't.
Which is fact.
I've shared multiple times where I've witnessed colleagues not want to, be staffed a client because of a certain diagnosis that they might have. I do understand that, but I always have to look at the source of who's saying this. You know what I mean?
It is Chris.
It is the Rewired Soul who is stating that many people in mental health pick and choose the mental health diagnoses or concerns that they're compassionate about. Let that sink in. This is Chris. Yes, Chris said that, right? Got on his soapbox and said that. And while I'm reading this, I'm like, yeah, that is actually very true. Because you guys, just a little insight to me, I'm one of those people that is really big in practice what you preach. If I state that I care about mental health, I care about mental health. That doesn't mean I'm going to give mental health as an excuse, because if you're a trash individual, your mental health doesn't excuse that behavior. It doesn't excuse the behavior, period. Just because you have mental health concerns does not excuse you for treating people bad or hurting people or anything like that. But I am one of those who practice what I preach. If I want to break the stigma when it comes to mental health, then I want to break the stigma when it comes to all mental health, not just pick and choose diagnoses. So I'm sitting here and I'm feeling him for that. I'm like, okay. So then he brings up drug addiction and he talks about how drug addicts get judged and they get treated and looked at a certain way by certain people. And he says the only people that should be able to do that are people who've never picked up a drug or alcohol or anything in their life to be able to judge that, which is, okay, kind of extreme, but I get what he's trying to go there with that, right? Shared that a lot of times people who are in addiction are self-medicating, maybe for depression, maybe for some type of mental illness. Not always the case, we all know that, but a lot of the times it is some form of self-medication. So I was like, okay, cool, I get what you're trying to say. Like, yes, there are people out there who still judge people in recovery, people who used to use. They throw it in their face and try to judge them and may lack compassion for them. So I was like, okay, good point.
See, he was doing pretty good.
He was doing pretty good in this blog, you guys, until we get to the borderline personality disorder. I swear this man makes content just to bring up borderline personality disorder. I swear that this man, like, his whole content calendar for YouTube is like every other week, how can I fit in borderline personality disorder? It's like,
how can I push the stigma of borderline personality disorder some more? How can I do that this week?
Because that's what he did. That's what he did, you guys. That is what he did. This man got up on his soapbox and said that many people in mental health want to have compassion and understanding for certain diagnoses. But if you want to be in mental health, you got to do it all. And yet a few lines down, you sit here and say something that continues to push stigma and judgment on people with borderline personality. You sat here and typed out on Medium. Like, this man really sat here and used the example of him being in treatment and seeing his coworkers not want to work with people with borderline personality. He stated that that was an issue, that he didn't like the bad rap that people with borderline personality disorder get. People don't want to work with them because they're too difficult, but then fixes his mouth to say that they have it worse because they're so hard to love.
DK here, you guys. So he says that they're hard to have any type of relationship with. I said hard to love. Either way, it's still pushing a stigma. All right, back to the video.
Do you not understand what you just did? Like, does he get, he just negated everything, all the good he was saying in his blog? Up until this point, you just said, throw it out the window. Just throw that out the window. Just throw it out the window. You can't get on your soapbox no more. You are not allowed to stand on your soapbox and say,
oh, we're supposed to have compassion and all of that.
To you, that's compassion, huh? That is your form of compassion. By continuing to push the narrative that people with borderline personality disorder are hard to love. That's your form of compassion, right? You sit here and you're going to try to talk crap about the mental health community, about the people that work in the mental health community, saying there's not enough compassion for all mental health concerns, diagnoses, illnesses, whatever you want to call it. But in that same article, the same blog, you sit here and continue to push narratives that demean and can ultimately hurt people with borderline personality disorder. Like, I swear to goodness, he really sits here and plans how he could do this each week. I don't understand how you cannot go without somehow mentioning borderline personality in a blog or even in video. Like, it's everywhere. And I wouldn't mind you bringing, if it was just to bring awareness, but your awareness is damaging. It's harmful. People with borderline personality disorder don't have it harder because they're hard to love. Do you not understand the connotations that go with that? Do you understand that's still continuing to push this stigma that you supposedly don't like your coworkers doing?
Like, I'm just like, you're so trash. I can't.
Now do you guys see why I had to make a whole video? Do you understand what this man just did? He really got on a soapbox and shot himself in the foot in front of everybody. Like, you gotta practice what you preach before you try to even preach to anybody. Can we say that? You need to practice what you preach before you try to turn around and preach to the choir. You need to do that first, sir. That's what you need to do, because you can't sit here and get on no soapbox talking about
Mental health workers, they only want to have compassion for certain ones. They only want to care about certain ones.
and then literally sit here and continue to push a stigma that can be harmful and hurtful and damaging to people who are diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I don't get it. Where's the disconnect? You're literally contradicting yourself. Your words mean things. You're pushing this out to people who don't know you from YouTube, who don't know that you have a problem with sharing information that continues to push stigma, that continues to push judgment. This man is sitting on a whole nother platform, pushing these topics and celebrating when he's getting more followers on media. This man swears he's doing the work, but yet you're pushing judgment, you're pushing stigma. They are harder to love. What? Quit putting out false information to fit your narrative, to fit this blog that you're trying to post. This is why I can't just sit here and not call this stuff out, because that's so problematic. I was really sitting here like, yep, I agree. And then bam, that's what you do. Continue to push these freaking stigmas. You want to talk about your coworkers? Look in the mirror. So then after he states that horrible stuff about the borderline personality disorder, he reflects back like he does with people who are in recovery and states that a lot of times people who might have borderline personality disorder comes from childhood. It could come from neglect. I'm not even going to get into that, right? So then he gives us a very generic definition of narcissism, what it looks like, or how it may present, and goes in to explain why he feels bad for people who are narcissists. He states that people who are narcissists most likely were neglected as children, and that is why they are now someone who has narcissistic personality disorder. And that's a problem. You can't sit here and just generalize people with personality disorders because they might have had a traumatic childhood. And before you can say it, I'm not taking away the importance and the significance of childhood trauma, how you're raised, all of that stuff, but that is not the sole reason why someone would be narcissistic. Because honestly, when it comes to mental health, nobody really understands what may trigger some people to have mental health concerns and some not. They really don't know. There's theories. Many believe that it is part neurobiology, genetics, and environmental. And apply that to someone you might consider a narcissist. That doesn't mean that all of them had a horrible, neglectful childhood where they were craved for attention. That doesn't always have to be the case. There could be people diagnosed narcissistic who have been doted on their entire life, received everything that they wanted. Parents were in the home, loving, giving them attention, but that person could end up narcissistic and they're on the other side of the spectrum. So for him to just sit here and give a generalization that people who are narcissistic most likely came from neglect, when if you look it up yourself, it states that narcissism and honestly most mental health concerns are complex. And most people believe in the theory of the three factors of environmental, your genetics, and your brain, the way your brain's wired up. So that was messed up. You sat here and gave a whole generalization and basically stated most people who are narcissists, they had a crappy childhood and were neglected. And there's probably plenty of people out there who are the opposite end of the spectrum. And maybe they got doted on too much and received too much admiration where they really believed that they were that person. They really believed the world revolved around them. So we got to be careful on how we're trying to frame these things. We got to be careful. We can't sit here and just make generalizations saying people with borderline personality disorder, they're all hard to love, and that narcissists had neglectful childhoods. Like, so he then continues to say he's not giving narcissists an excuse. He's not saying that at all. He's just trying to show how we could have some compassion because most of them probably came from neglectful homes. Just like people with borderline personality disorder, they're hard to love. They probably came from a messed up childhood as well. And then he goes into boundaries and talks about how making sure we have boundaries and we put up our boundaries and stick by them can help defend us against people who are narcissistic or who just ultimately might hurt our own mental health. And so then he decided to go out with a bang and try to make it relatable and say, hey, I know it's not easy and we can do this. I hated myself. I know people who are borderline who hate themselves, and that narcissists, they're probably not happy either, but they most likely hate themselves as well. That's just how he decided to end the blog, and it's just trash. It was a trash ass blog. I'm sorry, you guys. I try not to curse because
YouTube terms and services and stuff like that.
Now you guys understand why I needed to make a whole video, because I understand having compassion for all mental illnesses and understanding and trying to make sure they get treatment and guiding people to get treatment for those things. I understand that. I understand that we use narcissism and narcissists so loosely. And I understand that it helps push stigmas and judgments and stuff when we do that. This man does not have the right to try to sit up here and get on his soapbox and judge and criticize other people in the mental health field and then turn right back around and continue to push judgment and stigmas on mental health things. Like why do we not see? Like why do we not understand this? I'm bothered because he's on a whole different platform and these people don't know him. These people don't know him. Yes, he's back to throwing up those videos up here, but now he's on another platform spreading misinformation that gets sent out to all these different people who think they're coming to, you know, get a different perspective or understanding about mental health. He's sitting here still pushing that borderline personality people are hard to love. My coworkers judged these people and didn't want to work with them, but you're sitting there judging them and still pushing a whole ass stigma. Like, do we not see that? Like, where's the disconnect? Can we please explain to me where's the disconnect? Where is it? I don't understand. And then at the end, like, he tried to sound all deep, like,
I hated myself. People with borderline personality hate themselves. I bet narcissists, they're not happy either.
Like, do you understand narcissists? Do you understand what narcissism is? You understand that they really don't see nothing wrong with themselves? They're narcissists. They believe they could do no wrong. They really have this ultimate belief that they are great. There's nothing wrong with them. Do you really think, like... And that's why I brought it up earlier, where it's talking about the statistics. Can't understand that it might be a small amount of people who are truly diagnosed with it, but that goes back to, if you look at the symptoms, they don't think there's anything wrong. So where are they going to go get assistance? And I've witnessed it to where someone who can diagnose somebody, and you know, people are like, no, I don't believe it. Imagine trying to diagnose someone who is narcissistic. First, getting them into the door would most likely be assisted by somebody else who they may love or care about or whatever the case is. But do you really see them doing that themselves when you know and understand the symptoms? Really? Like, this is where it's like, this is where I'm like, you don't do research, you don't look up, like, what? I'm literally speechless, you guys, because this man got up on here and tried to get on a soapbox about people judging and not having compassion for mental health illnesses or mental health concerns if it doesn't fit what they like, and then turned right back around in this same dang on blog and said some trash stuff about borderline personality disorder again. Pushing stigmas again, pushing judgments again, pushing misinformation again, doing whatever it takes to fit a narrative that you want it to fit. And you're trying to do it on a whole new platform and so excited.
Just trash, you guys.
I'm sorry, it's just trash. And like I said, you guys, there are parts I agree with, there are parts that I obviously don't. And that is why I needed to make this video, because this was just a mess. It was a mess. Like, just a walking contradiction of the mental health field. I look at the mental health field, in my own opinion, as a place I feel so safe working in this field, being myself, being in this field. I feel safe. It's like I'm like enveloped in my own safe space, right? And to imagine that someone like you might possibly be working in mental health in Vegas, I don't like that. I don't like that. You've given too many examples to where I feel like I, as a coworker, I wouldn't feel comfortable. I don't understand how you might be working in this field, if I'm just being honest, because you consistently are pushing judgments. You consistently are pushing stigmas. It's okay to stand for something and say, hey, we need to be compassionate and understanding of narcissism and stop throwing the word around and stuff like that. Out sitting here pushing judgments and stigmas on other diagnoses. And it's always the same one. It's always borderline personality disorder. I need you to check into that. I need to figure out why you're so obsessed with that diagnosis. I really do. I need you to. So that's it, you guys. That is it. I just wanted to get on video real quick and react to this blog because it made me so mad. You know, it makes me mad that this man swears to goodness he is helping people with mental health, educating and advocating, when all I see is someone who's continuing to push stigmas, continuing to push judgments and misinformation to fit his narrative. And I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. And I want to hear from you guys down below. What did you guys think of this blog? How do you feel about the whole argument of overuse of narcissism? You guys, I love that you guys always share your guys' thoughts and opinions, and I always love the fact that even though we might not always agree on everything, we listen to each other respectfully and have conversations. So I want to hear from you guys. Don't be afraid to comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. And if you made it this far and hasn't subscribed to my channel yet, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button down below. You can hit that bell so that way you're also notified every time I post a video. If you want, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed my reaction to this trash blog that I feel was just a waste of time, I greatly appreciate it. If you didn't, a thumbs down is cool too. I love you either way, because I will always appreciate anyone who takes the time to stop by my channel, listen to me talk, listen to me rant, maybe get a little bit of education every once in a while. I just appreciate you so much. That's it, you guys. I will be back with another video shortly. I appreciate you guys so much for watching me. I'll catch you on Twitter at Journey to Find K, or Instagram. You can hit me up on there at Journey to Find K as well. But I will talk to you guys later. Bye.